We're changing it up this week. In this episode, I'm the one in the hot seat being interviewed. Hello, friend. Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Brassy broadcast. I'm Jen Eads. I'm a musician, a student of the creative universe, and a curious girl full of questions. I'm also the head broad in charge at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, where I work with the creators, the doers, and the makers of this world to put them in the ears, heads, and hearts of new audiences with podcasts and other audio goodness. I've even created the Brassy Broad's Brass Tacks podcasting course. It's your free introductory podcast course, and you can find it at brassybroad.com. Before we get into this episode, I want to share some good stuff that I've been listening to lately. You know I love Brassy Broads. Did you know that Abigail Adams, wife of President John Adams, was a total Brassy Broad? I had no idea. And then I listened to the latest episode of Ben Franklin's World. I love that podcast. It's hosted by podcasting historian Liz Covart. Abigail Adams handled all the family money and made some incredibly lucrative investments while John was off doing his thing. And this was back in the day when the wife's property automatically went to the husband. Abigail had some mad negotiating skills. I'll have a link to the episode in the show notes. Click on it when you're done with this podcast and give it a listen. Now let's get into this week's show. I had the pleasure of interviewing the people reader, Lisa Mitchell, this spring for the podcast, and you can listen to that conversation in episode 67. Yes, of course I'll have a link to it in the show notes for you, along with the link to Lisa's website, because you're going to want to check out her videos about reading body language. Lisa recently turned the tables and interviewed me for her podcast, People Reading with Lisa Mitchell. And we talk about confidence, getting over your fears, and finding an encouraging support system. One of the things that really excited the little audio nerd in me is that Lisa's kitchen table was our podcasting studio. This was an opportunity for me to test out my new portable recording setup. It doesn't sound like we're talking around the kitchen table, but it's totally a kitchen table talk. And those are always the best kind of talks. Oh, and Mom, if you're listening to this with my niece and nephew in the room, consider yourself warned. There might be a couple of choice words you wouldn't want them to pick up. Now enjoy my conversation with Lisa Mitchell.
Welcome to the People Reading with Lisa Mitchell podcast, the podcast where I help millennial women figure out how to crack the code in business and in life. Let's get started. Welcome to People Reading with Lisa Mitchell, the show that helps millennial women crack the code in business and in life. And I am so excited today because I love all of my guests, but this one really is exciting. And that's for a lot of reasons, but she has the coolest toys. So you'll see, if you're watching this online, you'll see that she actually brought her whole freaking podcast rig into my kitchen. And so we are having some coffee talk.
Yes, we're
gonna have a little coffee talk today around the kitchen table, because historically, with this amazing woman, Jen Eads, sitting beside me, who is also the head
broad.
We'll
go with
in
broad.
Charge. This could be a family show. Yeah, HBIC and the amazing force behind Brassy Broadcasting. We have the best conversations around kitchen tables, kitchen islands. There's just some sort of good juju vibe that happens when we get around places where there's food and coffee.
Yeah. Every time. Like, it never fails.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, Jen.
Thanks. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. And actually, it's Jen's fault that I even have a podcast, because now it's evolved a little bit over the years. But the encouragement or the call to action that Jen gave me was to make a shitty podcast.
Yeah. And you nailed it.
Right?
Yeah.
My podcast was the shittiest. It was amazing. But your encouragement, honestly, was what helped me get over myself, because I am a typical type A perfectionist, used to need to be very shiny plastic. I've kind of let some of that go now, thanks to you, but helped give me a voice. Good. And I know that your mission this year, right, is to give 1,000 women or 1,000 people their voices.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Where did that mission come from? How's it going? What are you finding as that's coming into fruition?
It's happening. Will I ever know if I actually hit 1,000? Probably not. But it just felt good to have a number and know that I had a purpose I wanted to create content and share what I know.
Because you know so much.
And it's changing every day. Like, that's kind of the cool thing with the podcasting and the technology. It's like, it's always changing.
Yeah.
This wasn't even a career option in college because it
wasn't
exist.
Even a thing.
No, exactly. Like, I remember seeing the internet and email for the first time. So I wasn't like, I'm going to be a podcasting major. Like, what?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. Yeah. But I've just found that once I opened my mouth, I know, and it's kind of shocking because you didn't know me before.
Right.
But once I opened my mouth, like, the world just kind of opened up, and I met really cool people and opportunities kept showing up. And I was like, I want to help other people, like, just figure this out, whether it's the technology, whether it's the confidence piece, like, whatever that is. So I'm on a mission through both the Brassy broadcast, which is my podcast, and also through creating YouTube tutorial videos. I do a lot of those, just kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and say, look, it ain't rocket science. If I can figure this out, this is what you do. And let me break it down and simplify that a little bit.
So who should have a podcast? Who's podcasting for?
Podcasting is for anyone that's got a mission and a purpose. And, I feel like mine has changed over the course of since I initially started my podcast. Initially, it was going to be for women kind of working behind the scenes on the business side of music, because I'm like, oh, I wish that show would have existed when I was in college to help me figure out what I wanted to be and kind of help light the path a little bit and show me what I needed to do and what I needed to focus on. And I'm like, you know what? I can do it now. There's nobody telling me I can't do this. So
love it.
I went and sought out those conversations that I wanted to have. And now it's kind of evolved into, it's basically my big giant sandbox for podcasting. So it's still a lot of interviews. It's still a lot of musicians that I'm talking to because that's my passion. But it's finding out, how are these women, just kind of killing it at what they're doing, whether it's business related, whether it's music related, let's find out what's working for them and maybe get some inspiration in what might work for somebody else.
Yeah, I love that your mission is to share your knowledge and how there's no right way to acquire that knowledge. But once you have it, you're almost obligated to share what you know, to help light the path for others, if we're going to get really cliche and old school about it. But let's talk a minute about your music.
Okay.
Because that's what I love, the amount of just depth that you have. And it's all about getting heard, but you do it musically through original songs. You do it through acoustic shows. You do it through singer-songwriter panels. You do it through YouTube videos. Like, you've managed to integrate that passion into all the areas of your life. When did that spark light with music? And what has that been? Like, what role has that played in your life?
It's been the probably overall biggest impact, on my life. I started, piano lessons and all that stuff, and I failed miserably at piano lessons. I wasn't committed.
I couldn't stick with them either.
It didn't light the fire.
No, I couldn't stick with them.
I was like, Mom, I want to play guitar. And she's like, I saw how the piano thing went. No. I'm like, no, really. And so, I tell people, getting my mom and dad to buy me that first guitar was like my first sales job.
Nice.
And it worked out. And that was probably 5th grade. And just, fortunately, I got hooked up with a phenomenal teacher, and he was so inspiring. And, basically he's like, what do you want to learn? I'm like, I want to learn this, this, and this. He's like, cool. Like he was like that guy that can do everything. So that kind of started that path down playing guitar and, never put it down.
So some people play guitar and they play covers or they learn how to emulate someone else's style, but you sit down and write your own stuff, like Superman t-shirt.
Oh, the Spider-Man
or
t-shirt?
Spider-Man t-shirt. Yes. Sorry. The tune is forever stuck in my head.
Oh, good.
And the story, like you're such a masterful storyteller. And I'd love to know a little bit about how you find the courage. Because it's a courageous thing. Anytime you're putting, whether it's a podcast or it's a song or it's a video, like you have to get over yourself in a serious way. How do you find the courage to get over yourself and be like, I don't even know if anyone's going to get into this, but like I got to put it out there.
Well, I mean, that's it. Like if nobody likes it, that's cool. Like not everybody's going to like it.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, that's cool. But some people like really like it. And I'm like, I did not know. Like when you write something that really resonates with people, it's shocking.
Yeah.
But it's kind of magical. And it's like, because that's why I listen to music. It's like, oh yeah, Lucinda Williams, you totally nailed that, didn't you? Are you living my life?
I got the feel so hard right now.
I know.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that even occasionally and feel like, to have somebody come up to you after a show and be like, oh my God, like I love that song. And I shared it with my neighbors because they've got a 5-year-old and he loves, Spider-Man and Batman and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. But I think it's like, and I don't know maybe what your experience has been, but it's really one of the biggest challenges I've had in my life, whether it's been professionally or personally, is getting over just the frickin' fear of judgment and challenging myself to worry less about what people think about me.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't even really start singing until mid to late 30s.
Really?
Yeah, like I was always
what
very
a shame. That should have happened so much sooner.
I was always super content to kind of be the, the lead guitar player or the mandolin player or whatever supporting role I was in for that singer. I'm like, dude, that's totally cool. And I'm an introvert. And so for me to get up on that microphone in front of a room full of people and then have to talk between songs. Like it's one thing to get up there and do like what you're totally comfortable with, but to get up there and have to engage between songs and, buy my record or visit my Facebook page and all of that stuff. And then set those songs up and be super engaging and charming. And like, I don't know that I can do that, but
you do. And you do it really well. I've been to your shows. I've seen you play and it's a whole entertainment experience. Like the music's great, but it's the vibe and it's what you create and the interaction that you do with the audience and how you really make us all feel like part of what you're doing, which is super cool.
Yeah.
How did you kind of get over yourself to be like, all right, this is my stage thing.
The harmony shaming of my bandmates. Well, because so Rita that I still play with in Sister Threadgood, we were in another band at the time and she's like, Jen, because Rita is like a freak about finding harmonies and she's so good. I'm like, I'm never going to be that good. I can't just, start opening my mouth and the right notes are going to come out.
Right.
But she and the other gal that we were playing with at the time were like, if you would start singing, we would sound a whole lot better because then we could have 3-part harmony. I'm like, all right. So it was kind of that coercion into
peer pressure made you do
total peer pressure. But when we would hit and we'd all three hit our parts, I'm like, like the heavens opened up. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. So, I think a lot of it is the people that you surround yourself with and finding that supportive network of people that are like, look, we know you're going to screw this up, but we're here to help you. Like Rita would still sing to this day. She will sing harmony parts out for me that I can't find. And I'm sitting there with my iPhone and recording it so I can go home and practice it and learn it. But it's important enough to her that we do this. And it's it's totally changed my life. Just opening my mouth and singing.
See, I love the idea of finding bravery through your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you like bandmates clearly are like, there's a lot at stake. You kind of have to push each other off cliffs for the greater good.
Completely.
But I think that's also important in every other area. If you're going to be a successful woman at any age, I feel like having the tribe is the game changer.
Totally.
Like that's the difference. I think about what's changed in my journey and my career, and just how much better equipped I feel and how much braver I am now, just because I have the tribe of people that are like calling me out when I'm doing something stupid or playing small. Because I think sometimes you can play really small for a long time if you don't have somebody who like expects more of you and actually will have that conversation with you and be like, you're being stupid, get over yourself. Right. And I think and thank God you're part of that tribe. And we have had, Jen and I have had some amazing, just moments in general, but whiteboard sessions and strategy. And you're
magic with a whiteboard.
I'm magic with putting stuff on the whiteboard. It's getting stuff off the whiteboard and into the world that's where I trip sometimes. But that's where people like you come in, where it's like, okay, great idea. Now get off your ass and go do something with this.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like you can whiteboard all day long.
Right.
Or Google Doc. Like I joke that my Google Docs is where great ideas go to die because I get all jacked up and excited and I put a bunch of stuff in, write up a plan and then save it in Google Docs and then it's gone and nobody knows about it and it just sits there. So someday my legacy will be a treasure trove of lost ideas in a Google Doc. But I think it's so important at every phase of your career, whether you're just starting out and you're in a corporate environment or whether you're in the artistic or creative space. And I think really we're all creatives. And I think it's important to realize that sooner rather than later. Like I would have never claimed the creative title up until about a year ago.
Really?
I was an operations person, or I was I was always a thing by definition of my degree or my expertise or my job title. I was a thing, but I wasn't a creative. That was people that sang or danced or wrote books. But creation is anything that you're putting out that isn't already there.
Right.
Or a new interpretation of something that already exists. And that's all I do now.
Yeah.
Right.
All you do is connect dots and like, look, did you see that?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. How have you found that you've been encouraged throughout your career? Because I know I joke about having like 4 lives already, like really 4 distinct beginning and ends. And so I'm excited for what's next. But how have you transitioned through the different phases of your career and honoring kind of what lights you up versus what people expect you to do? How do you manage through?
Well, for the longest time, I didn't do what was lighting me up. I'd had lots
What'd that feel like?
It sucked the life out of me. And it wasn't like, especially like with my last, I did inside sales. I sat in a cube. I liked my coworkers.
I cannot even imagine you're amazing at sales, but I cannot imagine you being contained in that environment.
Well, so the best part was I had a client that, I get into work Monday morning and there's a voicemail. He's like, are you the same Jen Eads that we saw at 8 Seconds that was playing in the band that opened up for it was like Gretchen Wilson or Terry Clark or somebody? And I called him back. I'm like, yep, I'm the same Jen Eads that you saw up there. But it was like this kind of weird double life of like the creative music thing. And then, mild-mannered sales rep working inside of a cubicle.
Right.
And finally the creative just took over because I was like, I am dying here. Like it was a nice, cushy sales job. I made a good living and it was safe and secure. And then I called my wife one day and I was like, can we go to lunch? She's like, sure. I was like, I can't do this anymore. She's like, then stop. Just stop it. And
what a great,
figure it out.
Supportive answer.
Well, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. She's kind of the best.
She kind of is.
Yeah.
I can't believe she tolerates me, but I scored.
So how do you, so let's talk about that transition process a little bit, because I think, and I was stuck in it for a long time where I knew I was not operating at my highest point of impact,
Yeah.
like period, the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I had same thing, cushy corporate job,
Yeah.
really only had to work about 2 hours a day, worked from home so I could screw around the rest of the time and benefits and 401k and whatever. And I chose to leave that. And it was one of those moments, and I've had a couple of them in my life where it was so counter to what anyone else expected.
Right.
That I got a ton of friction.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, I didn't get the sure sounds good response. I got the what the are you thinking response, right?
Yeah.
Like the why to what? To jump into thin air, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I knew I had a thing to do, but I didn't know what my thing was yet at that point. So it really, in retrospect, sounds kind of insane.
It is. Well, and had I known how long it was going to take to actually figure it out,
I
don't think I ever would have done it.
Right.
Like, I go back and I look and I'm like, oh, it's been a while and I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I think I should be.
Right.
So, you got to kind of just get over that. Like, I'm not saying, hey, if you're miserable, go quit your job with no safety net, but figure out, like, the one thing I started to do was I started creating, even if they didn't exist in the world or there wasn't a request for them, I started creating the work that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then
isn't it funny how many people all of a sudden find value in it?
Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't know that you could do that. Like, oh, I just thought you played guitar. I mean, it's, I didn't know you could, wow,
Right.
And once you start demonstrating like these projects that you're like, look, I can do this and this is how I could help you. And started showing people how I could add value to what they were doing. Then the light bulbs started turning on. And I was like, you've got to go out. Like, it's not just going to show up. You've got to actually, and I have to write this every day in my journal. I am a co-creator with the universe. I joyfully do the work.
Yes.
Like, you've got to do the work or it's not going to show up.
Right.
Because the universe is like, screw you, lazy bones.
Yeah.
We go to somebody that's doing stuff and making stuff. Even if it's shitty stuff, even if it's a shitty podcast, you've got to do the work to get better at it, to find out where your strengths truly lie, even within that work.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about, I like the idea that, first of all, a couple of key things I took away from that is there's a runway.
Yes.
And sometimes that runway is really freaking long,
right.
And sometimes the plane doesn't take off, right?
Exactly.
But you have to at least, you have to start and you have to maintain. And I think consistency is key. And that mantra of I'm a co-creator, yes, gives you power, but I joyfully do the work.
That's the key.
And it's an everyday thing. And the thing that really just pisses me off about Instagram entrepreneurs and all the just crap that we're fed as far as, watch a webinar and you'll make 7 figures, or, this person seemingly came out of nowhere and has 1.5 million followers in their own amazing YouTube channel. And it's like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
Like, why am I not? And it's just, I just respect people so much that like peel that back and are like, you're seeing the end result of like 8 years of consistent, daily, disciplined work.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because we don't get that story.
No,
because
never.
that doesn't sell as many.
That's not sexy.
Right. That doesn't sell as much. So we don't want to tell anybody that, oh, by the way.
Actually had to do some work.
Right. Creating is kind of hard work and it sucks a lot. And it doesn't always.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. And to maintain a piece of joy, like just knowing and honoring that this is my purpose.
Right.
It's sometimes that's really hard to be enough.
Yeah.
When you're not making the money and you're not getting the likes and you're not getting the opportunities that you think you should, or you're not where I don't know that I will ever be where I think I should be.
Right.
Because I don't have an end game.
Right.
There is no here's success. It's what's next.
Yep.
Right. And for what's next people, you always feel like you're not where you should be.
Right. And the challenge with that too, I think, is finding the joy in where you are.
Yes.
And being like I want to go there, but I'm going to like just sit back for a minute and kind of take in the view and enjoy, because I've gone farther than I had no end game when I started my business. I'm like, I think I kind of know what I want to do, but now I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy this for a minute.
Yeah. And
because my friend Lisa started a shitty podcast. Like she did what I said and it worked.
It did. I was like case study. I'm like, give me all your junk and then let me see if I can work it. Like, and I'm okay. Like, I appreciate that you didn't have an ego wrapped up in your product. Like you were okay. If I was like, yeah, this didn't take me where I needed it to, or I still don't understand that. You took it as like, okay, that's a gap for me to fill.
Right.
And an improvement for me to make. And then
you've got
the
to
next person that gets
way.
it after me has that step in there, which is super cool. So I think there has to be like creation is a no ego game.
Oh yeah.
If you have ego when you're creating stuff, you are going to hate your life pretty much all the time.
Well, and I've discovered too, if you're creating, like if I sat down and said, I want to try to write a hit song. and based on like, I heard the worst song on country radio last week. I'm like, I want to go home and write a shitty song. I want to write a song that bad.
Right.
And maybe it'll get played on the radio.
Right.
But I'm like, I don't have it in me to even.
Well, and then there's like that indignant artist part of you that's like, how just because they have a machine behind them.
Yeah.
They get commercial success.
Yeah. And it was horrible. But you know what? I can't write. I've discovered I can't write to make anybody happy or make anybody say, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. Because that's when you lose your impact, I think, as a writer. Yeah. Like when I'm writing either specifically of something I've experienced or a specific story to tell. But I feel like you've got to approach like you're writing to connect with that one person in the room. Because if you try to connect to the other 100,
right, or a stadium full of like 30,000 people, like
you're
everyone will love this song.
Right. And then it's a horrible song, you know. But when you write to that one person that's like, oh my God, like I saw myself in that, or I related to that, or that really helped me.
Right.
You nailed exactly what I was feeling. Then you're like that's the magic right there.
Yeah. How do you keep the energy to continue to create? Because I know like there's days where I'm like, okay, universe is like, I'm here to co-create and I got nothing. Like, just nothing.
Oh, just, you know, I figure if I can work on a verse, you know, if I can get one verse, if I can get one idea out, like, and I've fallen out of this habit for a while as part of my morning routine. I was like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day writing a song. And if I get something out of it, great. If not, great too. But I've at least exercised that muscle and worked it out a little bit. So the next time, you know, at 3 a.m. when the muse shows up, because that's when she comes.
I know, middle of the night.
She's like, hey, knock, girl, knock. I got you. You got to write this down. I'm like, okay. So the next time that opportunity shows up, I will have done the work and I'm more in shape and ready to take that and be that conduit for that idea and figure out how to best package that and get it out to the world.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the change you've seen in yourself and in your practice towards, you know, building and creating things since you've adopted a morning routine. Like, what does that look like, and what's been the outcome or the shift for you?
So my morning routine, when I'm doing it consistently, and again, it all comes back to consistency because I've gotten out of it over the past few months.
I didn't do my morning meditation today.
A little lazy.
I picked up my phone, and the next thing I know, it's time to get in the shower.
Never pick up your phone.
I know.
Never.
I know. I broke the cardinal rule. I know better.
I know. So I start with 10 minutes of meditation, and it's like basically just trying to breathe in and out. Think about like 10 things I'm grateful for, and then just breathe. And if something pops in my head, be like, hey, get out of here. But you can't.
Hold, please.
Yeah. I'm not thinking right now. You know, but I've got a track of music that I actually created for a client that does guided meditations. And I'm like, all right, I set it right at 10 minutes. So I know when this is done. And then I journal and I write the same thing every day in my journal. And then the next piece is, 10 minutes of reading. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans.
Like 7 years, probably. Yeah. If you're going through it at the rate that I am, it will be 7 years.
But I'm like 10 minutes a day for Tim Ferriss, and it helps because I always find something. I'm like, oh, right, that's a really good idea, Tim Ferriss.
Right.
or Tim Ferriss's guest.
Thanks for knowing so many smart people, Tim Ferriss.
Exactly. Yes. So that's part of it, because I'm such a continuous learner and hungry to figure out, new ways to do things. And so that's been a great inspiration. And then, the 10 minutes of writing, and let's see if something happens. And I did manage to write a song that I don't know that it'll ever see the light of day out in public, but I worked on it 10 minutes a day for long enough that I got a song out of it. That's actually,
awesome.
It actually
you created
worked.
something that didn't exist previously from a discipline, no less.
Yes. And it's this discipline stuff, God forbid I would add, yoga and working out to that.
Oh my God.
Daily
Can you imagine?
routine. I know. Might do a marathon or something, but
we should do a marathon.
No, we shouldn't. I
hate running, girl. That would be a divine intervention if you got my ass doing a marathon. But
yeah, there's a lot of things I'd be like, yeah, Lisa, that's a really good idea. But no to the marathon.
What's one thing you do want to do? Like something that's just totally maybe nonsensical or unexpected. But if somebody said, hey, Jen, do you want to, you'd be like, yeah, let's go now.
Oh gosh, there's so many things. I feel, and I think it happens as you get older, because you lose that fear of looking stupid.
Right. You just don't care.
And caring what people think. I'm like, oh, I'm over 40 now. Nobody cares. And I didn't, it's such a luxury, because I didn't have that for the longest time. So I'm up for just about anything that doesn't involve potentially bodily harm.
Right.
But, let's go do something crazy. Okay. Let's road trip. Spur of the moment road trip.
I love a road trip. I don't even care where we go.
Yeah.
Just get me in the car and put some music on and let's jam.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do an episode where we do a road trip, Jen and Lisa take a road trip podcast.
Yeah. Well, because I'm starting a new podcast. Did I tell you that?
Well, then, no. Tell me about that. Tell the listeners and viewers what you got cooking, because they're going to want to get in on it.
Yeah. So the Brassy broadcast is now, or the Brassy Broadcasting Company.
Brassy Broadcasting Company.
Sounds so official.
It does.
Because I think podcasts are kind of like tattoos. You get one.
Yes. I'm like, ooh, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's going to be the Brassy Roadcast.
Shut
because I have
now we have this amazing mobile podcast rig that brought you to my kitchen, no less.
Right. So I'm taking it on the road. My dad just bought a new RV.
Yes.
So the Brassy Roadcast.
I'm loving this already.
All of the adventures of, so the dynamics alone. So me, my wife, my parents / her in-laws traveling across the country in a 31-foot RV.
Tell me the dog's coming. Tell me Ruby's going to be on the road trip.
No, but my mom's 2 dogs will be.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So there'll be some animal humor.
Oh, yeah.
Shenanigans built into this.
Yeah. So first trip, Yellowstone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I know. So it's going to be all and the beauty of that is it's not just the podcast. Now it's we can Instagram that, we can Facebook all of that, and basically just take everybody right along with us.
It's an immersive, come join us. It's like an invitation to the world to come into and explore with you and see things through your point of view.
Which I think will be kind of fun and crazy. And having, I don't know what it's going to be like having Beth as the co-host, but she's so fun. We call her the mayor, because she never meets a stranger. So I'm super excited to have the portable gear to interview the people we meet on the way.
Oh my
gosh, the best part of the trip.
Because road people are the best people.
Yeah. And truck stops.
Oh my God.
We will give you the lowdown on every truck stop bathroom from here to Yellowstone. Because that's important.
That's a guide. You need to build an app to help guide people along that journey, because it's important. Bad roadside bathrooms are a trauma no one should experience.
See? So, we are doing a service to the higher good of the travelers.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to put a pitch into you that we do Girls Road Trip Weekend.
Yes.
Podcast, live cast, Facebook Live it.
Uh-huh.
We have a crew that would probably make this an experience that people would not soon forget.
Oh, yeah.
Our tribe in an RV.
Uh-huh.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes. That's going to be so fun.
I know. It's going to be the best thing ever.
And we're going to find the most random stuff along that we want to do and just do it as we go.
Yeah. I've got some ideas.
All right.
The wheels are turning. Look out.
Stay tuned, listeners and audience, because you got a big adventure coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk real quickly. A couple of takeaways. We're here really to help elevate women, specifically millennial women that are maybe establishing their identity and really trying to show up as their most confident, clued in selves in whatever pursuit they're taking on. If you had to give them just 3 big sister pieces of advice or things you wish you knew as you were establishing yourself in your pursuits, what are kind of your top 3 things to keep in mind that they can carry forward with them today?
Read the 4 Agreements.
Oh, yes.
Like, why didn't that book fall into my hands
Yeah.
years and years earlier?
I only read that like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. And it was like, oh, that kind of shifts my entire perspective on life. Where's
like
that been?
The whole don't take anything personally.
Right?
Like just that one piece of advice.
There doesn't even need to be 4 agreements. Just one. Just one. Just don't take things personally.
Yeah. And don't make assumptions.
Right. I know, right? How much more peaceful would this world be if we could just get everybody on board with just those 2?
Yeah. Because once you stop making assumptions, you start asking questions because you don't figure that you already know the answer. So here, you don't know the answer. That is, I'm
Preach.
just telling you right now, you don't know the answer. So just go ask.
Love it.
Yeah. So there's one takeaway. The second one is like open your mouth, be heard, be super mindful though. And I know you talk about this a lot. Like, how are you showing up?
Right.
So make the decision to show up and then, listen to Lisa about how to actually do that though in a way that is impactful and not necessarily self-serving and, really bring solutions and ideas, but don't be afraid to share what's on your mind. And I always throw out there, especially because I make YouTube videos. And so, everybody's always going to be like, oh, well, you could do it this way and that way.
Oh, I know, right?
Like,
the Monday morning quarterbacks are a dime a dozen.
Right. I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely, and that's what I've started saying. You're absolutely right. That's a great idea. You could totally do it that way. Here's an alternative way.
Right.
Which I think is kind of what I picked up from going to Girls Rock Camp and volunteering there for so long is that, what the end game is. Just figure out what works for you and how to get there.
Yeah.
And don't worry about right and wrong.
Girls Rock is such a cool camp and such a great concept. And I love that you're so passionate about it. I think that's one of the very first things we ever talked about because I have a daughter who's like kind of the target demographic for that.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what that is and what that experience provides.
So it is camp. It lasts a week long for girls ages 9 to 16. They may or may not play an instrument, but they get instrument instruction. They get put in a band. They learn how to write a song. And in addition to the music piece of it, there's also a lot of, empowerment and self-development workshops. And it's just this place where they can show up and be creative and not have they might be considered like, oh, she's the weird girl, like the music girl at her school, or she's artsy.
Right. Oh God, not artsy, anything but artsy.
But at Girls Rock Camp, like that is like, yes, let
your tribe,
fly.
Right?
Yes, these are your people. So there's nobody telling you shouldn't wear that or you shouldn't, that's a dumb idea. Like you never hear that's a dumb idea. It's like, oh, let's try this and see if it works within the context of what we're doing. And if it does, great. If not, we'll try something else. Like it's so empowering. Like I swear I get more out of it probably than the campers do. I think all of the volunteers, because it's like you find that creative, like that little kid again.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, man, we're going to rock and roll. And these girls will just like melt your faces off because then there's a showcase on Saturday and they stand up in front of that room full of people and play an original song, which as we've talked about, like that is scary. And they're up there bearing their souls in this original song that they've written and the room just goes nuts.
I love it. I love that you're creating that experience. And I can tell you, like, I appreciate you so much from a teacher standpoint. And so Jen does this amazing program called Ukulele Lounge. And it's going to be bigger. It's going to be kind of like Tumble Bus for corporate, just to give people something to look forward to, an hour of dedicated musical, just creation and experience and getting over themselves. And I can't wait till that's fully launched. But my daughter and I have had the privilege of getting to go to Ukulele Lounge. And I mean, when in a million years would I ever think I would A, own a ukulele, or B, know what to do with it. So that's a testament to your patience and your ability to teach. And what's really cool is I've seen, like, my daughter's just picked it up and loved it. Like, she's begging me. She's like, when do I start back with Jen again? Yeah. Like, there's more stuff I want to learn how to play. And for me as a mom, it's been super cool to see her embrace that. And she doesn't care if she messes up. She just practices more. And that's been a really cool thing to see. And when she gets it and she's singing and she's going like full out, and she's a little introverted as well. So to see her be like taking ownership of this experience has been super cool. So I love that you've like, just thank you for creating that opportunity for me to experience that with her. Plus it's fun for me. Like, I'm energized and my brain kicks into a different gear when I'm horrible. Like, I still can't get the strum technique down right, but regardless, right? It's not a judgment thing.
Right.
But it's just freaking fun. You know, like you said, it's impossible to be in a bad mood when you play the ukulele.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can still be cranky, but you can't actually be in like a full blown bad mood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Ukuleles and like little snacks fix everything.
Oh my God. That's magic. That's the recipe for happiness in life. Everybody's like, what's the secret to happiness? Ukuleles and snacks.
Do you know how many world problems we just solved?
With ukuleles and snacks?
Yes.
Yes. I know. You're welcome, world.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right. Okay. So we have our two. Sorry. I had to segue just because that experience has been so powerful. So let's talk.
That's nice to hear.
Your third tip.
Oh gosh. The third tip. Stop caring. I mean, just stop beating yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, just put it out there. Like, that's why I wrote that whole article on the blog post on why you should start a shitty podcast. Just do the work. Just show up and do the work. Like, that's it. And then refine it, because you need a starting point.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up. Do something really shitty, get it started, and then fix it. Like, develop your craft.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, and I'm very guilty of this, if it doesn't come easily, I don't want to work on it.
Right.
Like, if it doesn't come easily, it's not for me.
Right.
But I think that's the whole challenge, right? It's developing the skill. It's having the tenacity.
Exactly. That's such a good word.
To power through like the crap that it takes to get to, and I'm far from mastery in really everything. Yeah. I don't feel like I've really mastered anything, but I'm more comfortable in the space of learning and growing. And again, you got to throw your ego out the window, or that's just going to eat at you, and you're going to, comparison is a thief of joy, right? So you start comparing. There's always going to be somebody who you feel like does it better than you. Like, even if they don't, because we judge ourselves so harshly, right? So what tool have you been able to use to like find contentment with your performance as opposed to what other people are doing? Like, whether it's music or the business side of things, how do you kind of get over that, like, they're better than me thing?
Gratitude.
Such the right answer. I love it.
But it's like, it's the only, I mean, for me, that is the only, like, I'm grateful when people show up to a gig. Maybe it's 10, 15 people. Okay. But you know what? Somebody has made arrangements. They've probably gone to dinner, or they're eating dinner there.
Right.
They've paid for a babysitter. Like, it's a night out. Like, and they are out, supporting me in whatever band I'm playing with. And so it doesn't matter if it's like those, 10, 15 people, or if it's like a big giant room full of 1,000 people. If you don't approach that with gratitude, like, why bother? There's no joy in it.
No, that's so true.
Because if you're like, oh, I schlepped all this gear out and I set up this PA and it took forever, and like, there's only 15 people here and the bar didn't promote it. No, because you never know who that one person is and how you're going to impact them. Like, this might be their one big night out that they've planned for a month. So you know what? I'm going to put on the best damn show that I've got inside of me, and they are going to love it. And they'll be like, oh my God, I loved seeing you in such an intimate setting, and you were so great and fabulous. Thank you for, doing this. We had such a great time.
Yeah.
Okay. Gratitude.
Then you get yourself checked a little bit and you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good.
Yeah. So I don't care that I'm not playing for a stadium full of people.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably not ever going to be me. And I'm super cool with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, gratitude.
Love it. I don't know how somebody's life can't get better with those 3 things.
Right.
Like today, like
Yeah.
quit listening to this and go do those 3 things. And you've just elevated your life exponentially.
Yeah. Just think of 3 things that you're grateful for.
Oh my
and
God.
if you're in a bad mood, it will instantly shift.
Yes.
And if it doesn't help, go pick up a ukulele.
Yes.
And eat
ukulele
a snack.
and snacks. That should be the emergency kit. Like we should just install like little, like, you know how they have the cardiac machines for heart attacks everywhere.
Yes.
We should just also then next to them put a ukulele and some snacks for, you know, emergency cases of bitchiness, break glass. And,
and figure
handle
out
it.
how to work gratitude into that. And like those are the 3 things in
Right.
the life emergency kit.
Yeah, I love it.
Can you imagine putting those around town?
I know. We should do it. That should be like our stealth project.
Yes.
Okay, stay tuned. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I cannot, God, I just can't say enough good stuff about you.
Oh, thank you.
You are truly, truly one of my favorite humans. Like,
Aw.
like just there is never a moment that even when you're kicking my ass because I'm failing to execute on something from a whiteboard session, you do it in a way that I know your intentions are so good. And it's because you want me to be better. And I just appreciate you so much as a friend and a member of my tribe and an encourager. And yeah, I just love having you part of my life. I love that you're now part of the listeners and the viewers' lives. You all are way better now than you were before you knew Jen Eads. Where can people connect with you? Because I know like that should be number 4 in the life survival kit is know Jen Eads. So where can people connect with you? Where can they find out about your, you know, how you can help them start a shitty podcast or whatever else they want to do?
So first thing would be go to brassybroad.com. And all of my social things are out there. I've got YouTube instructional videos. You can find the Brassy broadcast there. Like anything you could ever possibly need is pretty much at brassybroad.com. But I love hanging out on Instagram. Instagram is my jam.
Yes.
And, you know, the stories, I'll do kind of behind the scenes, nerdy podcasting stuff or, you know, music stuff.
Yeah.
And so at Brassy Broad Jen on Instagram and Twitter, Brassy Broadcasting Company, Brassy Broadcast on Facebook. I'm everywhere except for Snapchat. Like that's not
I was on Snap and then I try, but I feel like I'm being repetitive and self-serving when I do an Instagram story and a Snapchat about the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pick Instagram.
I show up on Snap every once in a while just to high five a few people and then I run back to Instagram. But I mean, who even knows? Who even knows what'll be next? But for now, yeah, I'm with you. Instagram stories that's where all the shenanigans happen, at least for me.
Yeah, me too. And YouTube.
Yes. YouTube you have so many great tutorials on YouTube. So like you even have a tutorial on how to bleep guests that might like to swear, which is shocking. Which I didn't know we needed to bleep because my friends have sailor mouths, which is awesome.
Right.
But yeah, good to know. Should I ever reclassify the podcast
as clean?
Right. No. Let's just stick to default explicit, just in case the filter doesn't work. But if I do need to filter, now I know how from your tutorial to make it happen and sound legit about it.
Yeah.
All right, Brassy Broad, Jen, you are my favorite. You have such a joyful spirit. You operate from gratitude, and that I think is a lesson that everyone can take forward, you know, to own any part of their career or their life. So thank you for being here with People Reading. Everybody else, keep connecting. Like Jen said, we're on Instagram, at Brassy Broad Jen, at the People Reader. You're going to see some stuff behind the scenes today that happened before we got kicked off. So find me, email me, Lisa at powerbodylanguage.com. You really can't get away from either of us at this point.
We're everywhere.
Kind of stalking everyone together. So
can I say nice things about you before you hang out?
I mean,
before you hang up, like we're on the phone.
Right.
Hi, I'm a professional podcaster and I just told Lisa not to hang up. But it's like
it's the realness that makes us all work.
But it's all right back at you because it's like, you know, when people show up in your life, it's like, oh, like my life is so much, it's gotten better like business wise. And I feel a little more confident since our magical whiteboard session. So I just had to throw that out there that like you Yeah, this girl, she's got it going on.
The pleasure is all mine. So we'll end the love fest on this note. Thanks for tuning into the show. Love having you here watching and listening, and we will connect again soon.
If you found even the smallest little nugget of wisdom in this episode, please share it with a friend. You are how the independent podcasters of the world, like me, grow our audiences. You literally hold the power in your hands with your ability to tap the share button on your phone and send the episode link to one of your friends. Instagram is my jam. You can connect with me there and get the behind the scenes of where my podcasting and musical worlds collide. And there's also lots of pictures of the dog and cat. And for podcasting tutorials, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me on YouTube at Jen Eads, EDDS, Brassy. Thanks for listening. Now get out in the world and do some good.